That's actually why I put it there, is like everything I read so that it wouldn't do that. I mean, if it looks dumb, we can always change it later. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, that looks a little bit better. Okay, we're gonna get Facebook's and everything set up here, and we'll get rolling, guys. Sorry about this. All right. So first off, everybody up front, I apologize. I've been feeling under the weather, so if it's a short stream tonight, or if I seem like I'm moving a little slow, I apologize in advance. That's why. We're coming back with the ManaTraders Series tonight, and we're playing a little bit of. That's got to be too loud, I would think. And we're playing a little bit of Orzhov Humans tonight. And this is a list that I found online. I played it a little bit just to see how it felt, and the deck felt really solid. So I'm interested to see how it does in the series. It's really just a white weenie list with some disruption in Fatal Push and Kitesail Freebooter and Thoughtseize. And Dire Tactics is also a great card out of the sideboard for this deck. 20 lands might be too much, but I'm willing just to try it the way it is and see what happens. Also, Rally the Ranks is really a sweet card in this deck. Lurrus plays really well with the things that we're trying to accomplish here, so I'm interested in trying it and seeing what happens here. We're going to pull up the series and get going here, see if we can find a match here quickly. Go ahead and start looking for a match. But yeah, this is a stock list that I found online. I'm interested in seeing how it does. Alright, we've already got a match going here. Playing against Dio Margo SRL. Pioneer Tournament Practice. Notably, we're 5 wins away right now. So that's how much we need to. I can't see that. Is that? Yeah, okay. We're 5 wins away from qualifying. 5 wins in a row here. So we're hoping we just kind of rattle some games out this week and get there. We're on the play here, which is really good. Our opponent doesn't show us anything, and this hand's kind of creature light. If they're playing an aggro deck, this could be really good, but we're going to mulligan this. This doesn't really seem like where we want to be. We're going to keep this and put a Fatal Push back. Lead on a Thraben Inspector and say go. And then next turn we have Thalia's Lieutenant, and we can follow that up with Rally the Ranks. Our Fatal Push would have immediately been really good. Make this a 2/3, chip in. I mean, having the Fatal Push would have been fine there, but it would have also been kind of awkward because we would have been forced to have done that and not played multiple spells that turn. So we get to buff everything up here. We get to play this tapped. We get to attack for 6. And then next turn we have Rally the Ranks to follow up with, which seems kind of solid. We also have Mutavault to attack with next turn, which feels really good. So we're playing 2 Mutavaults in this list. Westvale Abbey. Alright, so it's not Stompy, it's more of like an aristocrat style deck. Is this like Jund Sacrifice or something like that? Oh, somebody's trying to play elves. Okay. Do what? What'd you say? Oh. Play Marty Woe Reaper. Trigger everybody here. Make everybody a little bit bigger here. Rally the Ranks is really good. We're gonna name Humans. So our opponent's gonna have to have some pretty good stuff here to really beat us. We've got we got a pretty solid start here. Notably, our 4th bridge Prowlers and Dire Tactics are going to be really good out of the sideboard. Fatal Push would have been great to keep here, but you know, oh well, you live and you learn kind of thing. Interested to see what they're doing here. Okay. Willing to trade our Thalia's Lieutenant for Dwynen's Elite and a token? Sure, I'm okay with that exchange. Don't tell the elf. You'll have to toss me. I love that movie. That smells like a Court of Calling. For 2, an Elvish Clan Collar. Oh, I'm sorry, another Elvish War Master. Okay. Maybe he's got a Lord in his hand. He's at 1, and we have a bunch of power in play, so I mean, he can't just like overly aggressively start attacking here. And even if we have a clue here, and we have Luris, so it's not exactly like our hand is terrible. Oops, sorry about that. Try to get the mic muted. He has to have. He can make Westfield Abbey here, but he has to have a land. Flying, lifelink, indestructible, haste. And then you tap it. Yep. Make a couple tokens. Flying, lifelink, indestructible. Chop down the giant here. We'll play the giant killer. And we're just going to keep shoving in with everything here because they're either forced to just put tokens in front or they're forced to the quarter calling. I mean, it's very possible that we lose this game here. Can't be Company or Ormondal or anything. I mean, it has to be Court of Calling here. Get Shaman of the pack. Domus for 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Put us to 9. Yeah, it's more than that actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And then he gets to block, block, block. And then are we just super dead on the crackback? Yep. We even had a pretty good. Yeah, we're just super dead here. Yep. Oh well. Fourth Bridge Prowler here is going to be really good. It's a body that also picks off stuff. We don't really care about Kite Sail Freebooter. And Blood-Soaked Champion seems less than ideal. Try something like this. Fourth Bridge Prowler is awesome here. It's a 1/1 that also allows us to kill their stuff. So yeah, we're all about that card in this matchup here. If they hadn't had double Court of Calling right there, that game would have been locked up. I mean, we knew they had to have something because they weren't drawing lands, but guess I was kind of hoping it was just like a Court of Calling and then like some creatures. Them being able to make 2 1/1 tokens every time they played something was really good. We get some pretty good cards out of the sideboard here though, so I feel like maybe we can make a pretty good run at it. Joseph or nobody on? Or playing or anything? Yeah. Hmm. I just figured you'd be playing. Okay. All right, game 2 against elves here. This hand's really good. We'll keep this. I keep feeling like the Mutavault is a little awkward, but when I played earlier, it seemed like it had a lot of value, so also running out the giant killer here just ahead of time isn't a bad idea. Um, we're gonna give that -1/-1. Yes. We're gonna play Woe Reaper. We're gonna eat it. Gain a life. And then next turn we have Thalia's Lieutenant with Chop Down and or Giant Killer backup, so having a Fatal Push here would have been pretty good, but unfortunately there's just you can't have it all, so waiting for our opponent to pay costs. We're just going to try to put on as much pressure here as we possibly can. That's pretty good for us. Hopefully we draw a white source here. I guess I didn't specify. We would have liked an untapped white source there, but that's okay. We get to get in for 5 here. And then we have Mutavault, Bodyguard, and Giant Killer next turn. Hey Mom, what's up? Thanks for coming by and hanging out. Actually, a 4th Bridge Prowler would just be insane off the top right here. Play our Giant Killer. I assume he has like a Fatal Push here or some form of interaction. Yep. We're going to play a Dauntless Bodyguard, and if he gives us the choice, we're going to protect the Thalia's Lieutenant. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good night, too. We're going to ship him with the team here. And if he doesn't block, he's dead, so he probably jumps in front of the Thalia's Lieutenant if I had to guess. Maybe Fatal pushes our Mutavault, tries to Stone Rain us here. You going downstairs? Okay. Huh? Okay. Because he's what? Oh, okay. Alright, I love you. Yep. He Fatal pushes our Mutavault. Probably debating whether he can take 7 here or not. Alright, that's pretty aggressive. He has to have a pretty good turn here. Like a Wrath effect of some variety. Okay. Like, I don't really know what he's drawing out to here, if I'm being honest, but... So 4th Bridge Prowler is insane. Fatal Push is really good. Bloodsoaked Champion seems extra medium. We probably want a Freebooter because it flies and allows us to take Collected Company over that. If I had to guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think we've got a pretty good setup here. Our opponent's draw really worked out for us right there. We just kind of have to bring in our cards and hope it's good enough, if I'm being honest. We don't really have a sweeper effect. Luris could also be really good here if we could get into like the Dauntless Bodyguard Luris like repetitively, like where we double block and sack and then play it again. It's kind of like how you can like do that with Al Saeed and kind of run it over and over again. It doesn't seem bad if I'm being honest, so our opponents either stepped away here or taken a minute to figure out what they want to sideboard. G League semifinals, huh? Being on the draw against another creature aggro deck isn't exactly what you want. Um, we have a removal spell here. I just don't think this hand's good enough to keep. Um, this hand is honestly worse, but it has a removal spell, so we're gonna try it. We'll keep this and try it and see what happens here. Fourth Bridge Prowler, please. Go ahead and fire off the Fatal Push here. Our opponent's probably debating what they should play here. Just naked to win Elite. Okay. We're gonna play this Scan of Life here. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and run out our Giant Killer. It's possible that we might need it for a not a Love Struck Beast, a Steel Leaf Champion right here, but another Dwinen's Elite. If he attacks, we're just gonna take 2 here. Our opponent's almost out of cards. We're just gonna say go here. We're blocking pretty well against what our opponent's trying to do. They kept 7, so hopefully they don't have like a Collected Company or a Court of Calling here. Our opponent's immediately paying cost, so they definitely have a Collected Company. I think our opponent tapped way too quickly there to not have a Collected Company. I don't think you have Dwinen's Elite in this format. Not Dwinen's Elite, the 3-drop Elvish Archdruid. I don't think you have that in this format, but he doesn't have anything he can pay. He hits us for a few. If he attacks, we get to block pretty favorably here. I don't even know what Crippling Fear is. I gotta read this one. Nope, I need to read Crippling Fear, please. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen creature type get -3/-3 until end of turn. Wow, is that dumb or what? So our Mutavault blocks pretty well here. What was the card in their hand? Was that Llanowar Elf that we knew about? Okay, that's kind of stupid, but okay. Definitely should have tapped that down here before combat. We'll say okay and take 5 here. It's not great, but put Luris in our hand, play this, play Mardu Woe Reaper. And then there's nothing there to eat. And now we can just kind of freely block with stuff here. The only thing that we can't really block here with freely is Dia's Lieutenant. And if we draw any untapped land, we're then in a position where we can just block with Dia's Lieutenant over and over again. But until then, we kind of can't. Shocked in a land, and now they're just going to say go. I'm a little confused by their line of play here. I mean, obviously they have something to do. Yep, kill that. Oh, that thing has reach. I am so bad. Hopefully he doesn't pill a black source here. It's double black to cost that, so I mean, for the rest of the game, we're pretty much just sweating bullets here. I mean, you can attack all you want, but we're just gonna keep putting stuff into play here, so. Yep. Very glad we get to take that. We get to play our Mardu Woe Reaper and eat this. And then we're forced to just target this thing over and over again. Yes. Gain a life, go to 10. Um, we're just kind of in a checkmate here, or a stalemate. Checkmate's not right. We're just kind of in a stalemate here, just kind of staring at each other. Unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot we can do. And they draw a collected company. That's really bad for us. That is a surefire way for them to win the game. Really hoping they could just like brick a few turns here. Alright, opponent. Your collected company is either really good or really bad, but either way, just pick something. Okay. And you can give that thing as many counters as you want. It doesn't matter. We can just put stuff in front of it for free. Alright, we did not want to draw a land. I can confirm that. They drew a collected company, we drew a land. Crippling Fear. That's an interesting one. Tap this creature down. Kind of wait and see what they do here. If they drew another Collected Company or a Court of Calling, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be a little heated. So we get to play Chop Down on the Wildborn Preserver here. We'll play our land and say go. He's going to put another one onto the field, yep. My God. Alright, our opponent's drawn like a fiend this game. Wow. Yeah, man. That's insane. We drew lands 5 and 6, and they drew Collected Company, Shaman of the Fact, Fatal Push. So, oh well. It'd be like, hey, good luck, opponent. Alright, we're going to be on the draw here. Yeah, we'll try this. Blood-Soaked Champion and the Rally the Ranks. Seems okay. Our opponent led on Basic Swamp, so something tells me that Fatal Push will be pretty good. I guess it kind of depends on what they're running. It appears like it's mono black. Blood-Soaked Champion of their own. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and run out Rally the Ranks because A, it's the most mana efficient. It's very mana efficient here with our turn, and if we draw a white source, we can double spell next turn. So, draw a white spell, or a white source, I mean. God. We need a white source here to be able to like really turn this around for us. They had the Fatal Push, which is okay. Swift End our land. Okay. We're going to play a Thraben Inspector and say go here. Player discards a card, and each player sacrifices a creature. Yep, they pitch a swamp. Our hand's not looking great here. Yep, Thoughtseize, take our Fatal Push. Our opponent's draw is lined up really well against ours here. Just not much we can do about that. We're gonna discard Rally the Ranks here. Um, we're just gonna keep saying go here. This is a pretty tough scene here. I mean, they're just gonna keep chipping in for 3 and making us sack a creature, so like now they're in that spot where they can just return the Bloodsoaked Champion and sack it every turn. So then they're gonna sack it and then run it back at the end of the play, like at the end of the turn. I always lose to Rankle when I'm least expecting it. Fourth Bridge Prowler. I feel like they play a lot of 1/2/1s or 1/2s. I mean, I feel like we'll just stick with the dire tactics for now, and we'll cut. I don't know. This is tough. This is tough. Guess a couple, try some freebooters and just kind of see what we can do here. They don't really have any like. They don't really have anything we want to take here. I mean, they'll have some fatal pushes and some stuff, but they'll probably take out their thought seizes against us, if I had to guess. If I was them, I'd take out thought seize, so. Alright, we're down a game against Mono Black Aggro. Yep, we'll go first. This hand seems really good. We'll keep this. Interaction and couple creatures, couple lands. Seems like a solid place to be. Our opponent takes a mulligan. Our opponent takes, sorry, I only take one mulligan. We're going to lead on Bloodsoaked Champion. Play a Bloodsoaked Champion. We're going to go ahead and run out our Giant Killer. There aren't many things that it actually interacts with here. Um, in fact, I feel like there are very few things that it interacts with, so it's very possible they have a Fatal Push. And then as long as we can keep our creatures on the field, we have removal spells the rest of the way. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to take 3 here. There's not really a reason for us to do anything or play anything. If they go to play something, we have removal spell here. So we're gonna fatal push this. We're gonna dire tactics that, put them to 8. Um, we're in a pretty commanding position here. I mean, Legion's End is pretty good. There's not much we can do about that. We're gonna attack and see what happens here. Um, if we had been quite ahead on board, I would have been okay with that trade, but I really wanted to put Luris in our hand there, but I really felt it was like necessary to. I mean, we're just drawing removal spells are us over here, so we'll just like so we have another removal spell if we need it. There are our opponents at 4. Um, we're gonna dire tactics here, get in for 2, play our land tapped, and hope that their draw step is bad to them. Because we don't really have that much stuff to get back with Luris, even if we needed to. So I don't really know what their. Having Fatal Push is pretty good here. Them activating to draw a card is. I was gonna say why didn't they bring back Scrap Heap Scrounger, but I guess that they don't really have anything they can do. So we're gonna play Luris, and then we're gonna play the Bodyguard to protect the Luris. Okay. I was like, and they still don't. Yeah. Okay. So our opponent's just gonna kill themselves here. All right. Um, that game went well on the fact that our opponent didn't have anything late in the game, so that kind of worked out for us there. All of our removal spells are good. I still don't think Fourth Bridge Prowler is where we want to be at. Soul Guide Lantern, like, I mean, I could see an argument for that, but I don't really think that's where we want to be. I think we just kind of want this and kind of see how it works out. Normally, I'd say Giant Killer's not great, but Giant Killer having the ability to tap things down seems very solid for us. Us having our like us being able to get value off of Luris there was also really good. Um, this is pretty good, especially since our opponent mulligans. We have 3 creatures and a removal spell and 3 lands. Like this is kind of where we want to be at. Uh, plus the Raven Inspector is kind of a redraw, so our opponent mulligans to 6. They probably have a fatal push here if I had to guess. We're gonna try and hold the Marty Will Reaper for as long as we can. Um, Mostly because we like to be able to snag a creature if we can with it. The Luminarch Aspirant is hopefully going to be very good to us right here. Okay, so they've brought in their self-inflicted wounds, which is fine. We're going to play the Luminarch Aspirant here and just give itself a counter. I mean, 2 mana for a 2/2 that pumps itself or other things later seems pretty good. Tarim, what are you doing? Legion's End is not bad. Okay. Um, our opponent didn't play a land there. I think we're just going to play Mardu Woe Reaper. No, we're not going to eat our Thraben Inspector. And we're going to go ahead and run out our Thalia's Lieutenant here. We're just going to keep putting stuff on the board and forcing them to deal with it. They're missing lands, so obviously they have removal spells here, which is fine. Or maybe they're just out of stuff to play. That is also very possible. We're gonna try to push the tempo here and get in for 5, and then we're gonna shock and put Luris into our hand. Okay. Yep. 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 No. No. We're not gonna get in for 5. We can't attack. I'm sorry. The brain's just not functioning the way it should be. We are going to get in for 3 here. We know that our opponent's last 4 cards in their hand are gas. We're okay with Dread Wanderer. We're going to play Luris and run out our Thalia's Lieutenant here. Seems like a fairly productive turn for us to be able to pump our team and put Luris into play. And we have a removal spell back up in our hand. He's Fatal Pushing in response. Okay. Yes, I'm still gonna cast Thalia's Lieutenant here. Because it pumps our attacking creature, and it leads for the most value down the course of the game, due to the fact that we can just get recurring value off of. Oh, excuse me. Aethersphere Harvester. Okay, so them having Aethersphere Harvester and thinking that it's a good out for them is really good for us. So we're gonna play Thraben Inspector. We're going to give Thalia's Lieutenant a clue, or a counter. We're going to make another clue. We're going to play our Thalia's Lieutenant here, which is really good. We're getting lots of value here. So normally I would ship in with the Luris too, but I don't want them to not take the out of actually G2 8 lands, now 2, haha, anyway. For everybody who was invested and needed to know, Kyle wanted Monopoly. He texted me to inform me. So, there's that. Hey, our opponent joined. I was beginning to wonder if they were going to show up. Alright, we're 1-1 tonight in the ManaTraders Series. We're on the play for Game 3. Historically, in our last 2 games, that does not bode well for us. This hand feels pretty good. We're going to keep this. Our opponent mulligans, which I'm happy to see. Like, not to sound like a super douche or anything, but I'm just happy to see our opponent mulligan. This deck is very reminiscent for me of the mono white slash red white Humans deck that was in Standard about 3 or 4 years ago, and that deck was a lot of fun. I played that deck a lot, and I did very well with it. So I'm generally a big fan of these like white based aggro decks that rely on putting a lot of creatures on the board to win the game. Which I know is very ironic to most people because I play a lot of burn when I play, but I am a pretty big fan of playing stuff like this. I'm just gonna go ahead and play Thalia's Lieutenant here. Ketria Triome probably means our opponent's on Niv. Drawing a freebooter here would be pretty good. That Fatal Push feels like it's not really gonna do us anything. Fatal Push definitely not doing anything. Um, We're gonna use this to make our Mutavault a 2/2. We're gonna play our Thalia's Lieutenant, and we're gonna get in for a bunch here. This is a pretty aggressive start from us, and we're gonna get in for 6 here. The Mutavault is pretty promising to the fact that even if they do have Plain Swamp Forest, so if they have Supreme Verdict here, any land allows them to have Supreme Verdict. Excuse me. Especially basic plains. I don't really know if the deck has been running Supreme Verdict. I don't really keep up with the deck that much. Uh, yeah, definitely Supreme Verdict. Oh, Spark Double. Okay. We're just gonna push the tempo as much as possible here. I mean, if we lose to a sweeper, we're kind of just all in on that plan. Our opponent's probably blocking the one of the 3/3s and taking 10 and going to 2 here, if I had to guess. Um, okay. So our opponent doesn't have a sweeper in hand, or maybe they do, and they're just trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. Um, if they do, just tap out for a sweeper here. We have a 3/3 Mutavault that we get to play and win the game with, that we could just get to fire up and attack for. They have to be able to have a sweeper and be able to run out a oh, excuse me, and have instant speed interaction for our Mutavault. Plain Swamp Forest. Okay. Our opponent didn't want to give us any more information there, which I can't really blame them for. I don't know what our opponent's playing, but we're going to bring in our 4 Thoughtseize just because this seems like a Thoughtseize matchup. We're going to take out our 4 Fatal Push because I don't really know what we're looking to Fatal Push here. Um, and we're just going to try it like this. That is true, he did say that. Alright, we're up a game against 4 or 5 color, something this guy owns. Um, so I think I'm gonna keep this hand off of the fact that if we draw anything that's not a Mutavault, this hand's great. So it's it's a little aggressive for me to keep this hand, but I think I'm going to. Plus, our opponent's on a mulligan, and the thought of having double Thoughtseize against a mulligan feels really good. So let's hope that their hand is not great. They lead on Temple Garden. Thoughtseize. I don't even know what this card does. We're definitely gonna take this. Like hopefully our opponent did not draw. Blood-Soaked Champion. Play Dauntless Bodyguard. Our hand is played out really well here because now next turn we get to have Luminarch Aspirant into Thoughtseize. I don't know what 3-drop they could play here, but gonna thought seize them here. I think Liliana represents the most danger for us. And then we're just gonna chip in for 5 here. Hopefully they don't draw a blue source here. Alright, so they played their Caves of Koilos. Sylvan Caryatid, okay. Which isn't great, but it's fine. Um, Alright, so we can stop drawing lands now, deck. Um, Yep, take 6, go to 9. So unless they draw a sweeper or a blue source here, they're forced to actually tap their Sylvan Caryatid, and then they're probably going to take my Bloodsoaked Champion. Well, I really don't want to take my Bloodsoaked Champion, but if they take the... If they go for the Dauntless Bodyguard here, we're just going to sack it in response, so... They can take my Bloodsoaked Champion and play it, but it doesn't matter because it can't block. Yeah, we're going to sack this in response here. Thoughtseize, see what's in their hand. So we're gonna attack for 3 here. They're gonna go to 5. We're gonna play our pathway. We're gonna put Luris into our hand, and we're gonna say go. The last card is Paradise Druid. Hopefully they just kind of like brick right here. Them having another blocker here is fine. Like it's not great, but it's fine. Um, I'm hoping they just kind of like drew a land or drew something they can't play right here. Drew another Paradise Druid, okay. Play our Dauntless Bodyguard, target our Luris. So this is fine because we're just gonna play our land and just raid this back into play. So even if they draw like a Wrath effect here, we still get to sack our Bodyguard to our Luris. Yep. Alright, so we're 2-1 with the Black-White Humans deck. We are now back to needing 5 wins, or 95, so hopefully we don't lose. I say that like I'm not gonna like say that no matter what he's playing, like no matter what their name is, so Alright, any minute now our opponent's gonna join and we are going to play a match of Magic. Hopefully. I'd really like to start playing soon, so. Hey, it's our opponent. Alright, we're on the draw. 2-1 ManaTraders Series. 5 wins away from qualifying. There's still, if you count today, 14 days left in the month to qualify. So, we're hoping we run hot. So, I think I'm going to mulligan here. Our hand is a lot of 2 drops in 1 land. I'm not a fan. This hand feels a lot better. We'll keep this and put the Caves of Koilos back. And we'll lead on the Bloodsoaked Champion. What are you talking about over there? Wow, that's kind of mean. You're not fat or old. Alright, kind of feels like we might be playing against the same thing we just played against. I think we want to go ahead and get the Thalia's Lieutenant down. We can attack for 3 and kind of like really start to like push the tempo here. I don't really know what our opponent's on Cloithus, so this is definitely a Niv deck. Okay, Fabled Passage. Play Thalia's Lieutenant. Get multiple triggers going on here. Giant Killer. Get in for 8. Now our opponent's gonna like 3, could have 6 mana here if they needed it for something. Hopefully this isn't like Bring to Light for Shadow's Verdict here. More than likely is though, and we're just gonna cry. The good news is that if it is, this feels like a Bring to Light. Funny part is that all the times they cast Bring to Light, I really wish our opponent would just cast a Niv. Which is kind of hilarious to me because I feel like I spend so much time wanting to avoid that card. But if they did just play Niv, the game would be over because we just tapped down my Giant Killer attack. Okay. Um, we get to animate. Attack for 3. Put our opponent to 6 here. They get to start gaining some life every turn. Eat our Bloodsoaked Champion seems pretty good. Notably, next turn we can attack for 3 with the We can attack with the Mutavault and put Lyris into our hand. We're kind of hoping that that was like what they had, that they're just kind of out of gas now. Maybe they have like Maybe they have like interaction here, some kind of removal spell or something. Abrupt decay. We're gonna shock in. We're gonna put Luris into our hand, and we're gonna say go. The Fatal Push is kind of a dead draw here. They're gonna cycle a land. We we kind of just need our opponent to break here. They're cycling more lands. I get the impression that their hand isn't great. We can Fatal Push. I guess just to get value here, put stuff into play, say go. Having the Fatal Push there was actually pretty good, because I'm not going to lie, I kind of thought the Fatal Push was just going to be next to worthless. Oath of Kaya, yep, go to 12. Our draws have been pretty abysmal here. We do get to get in for 4, though. Put our opponent to 8. Like, in 47 cards, we've drawn 7 land, or I'm sorry, in 13 cards, we've drawn 7 lands. Like, we've drawn more lands than we have spells. I've learned that this is generally why we end up losing these matchups, is just because, like, we just draw poorly. Like, Bloodsoaked Champion's not bad. And I don't know if they play K Command, but even if they have, target player discards a card. We discard our Bloodsoaked Champion, and then we get to animate this and get it back. So we get to put you to 7. And then we get to get our Bloodsoaked Champion back, which is actually pretty good, because we're putting quite a bit of a clock on the field here. Our opponent's Cloythus is basically killing us here. Yep, destroy that. Sure. We're gonna attack for 3 here. We're gonna put our Bloodsoaked Champion into play. We're gonna protect our Bloodsoaked Champion with our Dauntless Bodyguard. And then we have 7. Our opponent goes to 8. I mean, our opponent could definitely kill us from here. Like, we're not like in a super great spot or anything. Did our opponent like rip a Niv or a Bring to Light or something here? Man, I mean, they were bound to rip something. Wasn't necessarily that our opponent drew very well this game so much as we just drew terribly. Alright, Giant Killer, off the top one time, please. Giant Killer one time, please. Giant Killer is like our single out here. Man, Seb parts, that's even 7 right there. That's big sad. So if our opponent had bricked one more turn, we'd have had the game. That's okay. Alright, we're going to bring in our 4 Thoughtseize. And we're going to take out our 4 Fatal Push because it's the same thing as last time. Fatal Push doesn't really do anything. Thoughtseize is great. Yeah, we're just going to run it like this and hope we can try to run our opponent over here. Alright, we're on the play here against Niv Delight for game 2. We're down a game. We're going to have to mulligan our no-lander here. So I'm going to be honest, I really don't want to keep this because we have like 16 1-drops in our deck or more, and we don't have any of them in our hand. But I think we're going to keep this and ship a land. I mean, we're just going to need every spell we can get. Hopefully our opponent mulligans here. They didn't, which is fine. Nope, stop. Play that, say go. Like, if you wanted to trade that Rally the Ranks for a Thoughtseize, I'd be okay with that. Like, that feels like a pretty good, like... Alright, opponent. It's not exactly what we wanted, but that'll do. Um... Oh... We're gonna take Oath of Gaia here. Those other cards are annoying, but Oath of Kai is the problem here. If he wants to play his Sylvan Caryatid, he's going to have to shock here. Yep. And again, we would have liked to have seen... We would have liked to have seen a 1-drop there, just to add something to the clock, but... He's probably going to kill our Thalia's Lieutenant during our draw step and make us discard a card. Depending on what we draw here, we're really going to have to, like, see what we discard here. Kaya, Orzhov, Usurper, or whatever it's called, seems pretty good against this, against our deck. We have somehow, and I will probably never say this again, been fortunate enough. I mean, this has to be Colligan's command inbound, right? Like, discard our Godless Shrine. Yep, kill our Thalia's Lieutenant. The good news is that anything here the rest of the way is pretty solid for us. Yep. Play Rally the Ranks. We're gonna name Human. We're gonna chip in for 4 here. We got a pretty aggressive board here. And by a pretty aggressive board here, I mean a 4-5 Kite Sail Freebooter. So hopefully we're not looking at Dreadbore or Abrupt Decay here. Which is very possible. They probably just have Bring Delight here or something like that, which is... Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, that's annoying, but like, whatever. Rally the Ranks, name Human. Attack for 5. So we're just gonna say go here. They have a like I mean this game's over. Like we've done lost, but we're gonna play it out and see what happens here. Sure. This is like what I hate about this matchup is that no matter what you do, yeah, see there's just like no matter what you do in this matchup, like we had an aggressive clock and we had uh played against Mazahina Linda. Alright. Well, good luck, whomever you are. We're on the draw here again, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. Our opponent has no companion. This hand seems fine. Um, Dread Wonder, okay. So we'll see what they do here, but we'll probably just play into. Yeah, we'll take two here. We'll try to use our Fatal Push here. Thought sees us. Probably take our Luminarch Aspirin if I had to guess. Play another Dread Wonder. We're going to chip in for three here. We'll try to get aggressive with the race here. Rally the ranks will be a good follow-up here. Our opponent has mono black, has foil mono black on moto. Like, our opponent is something else here. Um, we're going to play, say, human. We get the Kraken for 7 here. Rankle is pretty good here. 3, 6, 8, 10. We're gonna see what they do here. If they make a sack a creature, we'll get rid of the Thalia's Lieutenant, and then we will actually each player discards a card, each player sacrifices a creature. Discard the caves. We get to put Luris into our hand, hold up Fatal Push here, and attack for 4. This feels like a pretty good play. Retarded. I just left myself dead on the board to. Just left myself dead on the board to Mutavault because I wasn't paying attention. So we definitely would have won that game, especially with him drawing a land there. Like I'm just out of it tonight. So we're gonna bring in our dire tactics and freebooter. I know we cut it last time. Cut a giant killer. Try it that way. Uh, yeah, we'll try it like this and see what happens. So that was just a hard misplay last game. Like we leave back our thing to block. Um, and we have Fatal Push to the next turn. We have Luris and into Thalia's Lieutenant. Like we had the game locked up for the most part. I mean, I like we could have lost, but felt like that game was won. We'll keep this. Yeah, guess. Play Blood-Soaked Champion. Say go. Play Thalia's Lieutenant. I guess it really depends on what they want to Fatal Push here. Or they don't have a Fatal Push. I'm not going to lie, I just kind of assumed they had a removal spell there. Get in for 3, hold up our Fatal Push here. Okay. Put Luris into our hand, attack for 3 here. Please no Kalitas or Rankle here. Discard Rally the Ranks. Oh man. Put Thalia's Lieutenant into play, say go here, and then we have double removal spell for whatever we need to do. Definitely gonna discard the Fatal Push here. Each player sacrifices a creature. Ship in. Alright, I guess our opponent just kind of like was whatever there. Yeah, I think we just kind of want this the way it is and kind of hope it works out for us. I don't really see what else we can do here. Having more freebooters in does not seem like a better play. Our hand has exactly 0 removal, but this is a very good aggressive hand, so we're going to keep this and hope it pans out for us. It's like this screams Fatal Push, but we're going to play into it. Sounds like a Heartless Act right here. Alright, we're putting a lot of pressure into play here. Hopefully we draw a land here so that we can go. Our opponent's hand has been really awkward here. elitist is pretty good. Alright, this is tough. I think we can try to beat a 2-2 token here. Put it back into play, give that a counter, say go. We had to expend of a few things to get rid of that. Alright, that's not great. Would have been nice to have taken that last turn. 3 rankles. Is what's in their hand. My god. I'm just gonna keep running out our cards here, seeing what they do. We're like on the verge of teetering this game away, so 3 cards in hand. I'd rather just take my chances that they do have a removal spell for the freebooter and make us discard a card, because if they do, we can pitch our Concealed Courtyard. And they have at least 2 cards in their hand that they just can't play here, so. Each player discards a card, each player sacks a creature. Yep. Discard this. He discards a Rankle. Sacrifice my Thalia's Lieutenant. Okay, well, we're on the verge of this being okay. He has a Rankle and an Unknown in his hand, so